All right, joined by Shakar here. We are looking at a security announcement that you guys did today.
Yes. Very happy to be announcing 3 new features actually in JFrog security. The first one is curation, which lets you curate the packages that come into your Artifactory. So you can set policies, and unwanted packages won't even go into Artifactory. The second one is SAST, so source code scanning. So now from the IDE or CLI or any shift left mechanism, we're actually able to scan your code and find zero-day vulnerabilities. So this is really a missing link that now we're more of a holistic security solution. And the third thing is our dashboards or new security experience, just showing more data about aggregated data of how many vulnerabilities you have, and all the data that's in the X-ray report, just more visual, easier to parse for a human. So for example, I can show for SAST, here we have, there's actually a bunch of code of some older Python code that we had actually in our product. We found it manually last time that we scanned, but now we can see that it just works automatically. So if you do a SAST scan, so you can do the scan from, again, CLI, IDE, Frogbot, every shift left that we support. So I'll run a scan. It found 3 issues here in this code. I'm starting with the high severity issue because that's usually the ones that you start with. So you can see it found a path traversal vulnerability in the code. So basically what it means is we're getting user input and no one is filtering that input. And then it's getting to a file opening function, and then attackers can open arbitrary files or write to arbitrary files, which is obviously unwanted. So the coolest feature is our engine. It's a completely new engine that we wrote from scratch for static source code analysis. Very fast, like you saw, ran on this code in a few seconds, but also very detailed. So for example, in the scan, the path traversal issue, we can see the full data trace of the vulnerability. So you can see the first point in the code where the vulnerability is introduced, where the attacker entry point. So if we jump to that, we just click that. So this is HTTP request. So the output of an HTTP request is usually considered external input because someone is doing a request to an external server. We get back the data, so this is potential attacker input. And then you can see it's 23 steps. You can see each and every step, the flow of the data. It starts from the response of the HTTP response, then flows forward, and in the end, you can see it gets to the dangerous API call, which here is just opening a file with a path, and part of this path is, again, if you follow all this trail, is coming from external input. So attackers can choose which files will be open. And of course, throughout all this data path, it checks whether there is filtering in place. So actually now, after we saw the data path, so the first question is, okay, but what do I do about it? We provide remediation for each and every type of vulnerability. So you can see it's like copy paste basically. So you can take this, and we can go to the last step in the way where this path is open. And now instead of opening this path with a function that is susceptible to path traversal, will just send back the data, but we'll send it with a safe API, this is one way that you can solve it. Oh, sorry. But there's also a multitude of different ways that you can solve it, and we show it here. So now, after that, you can rescan. And again, you see the scan is quite fast because of our engine, and you don't have the high severity vulnerability anymore.
Wow.
So again, we have dozens of rules, like for each different CWE, and each one of these rules come with its own remediation, very easy to use, and the best thing is it's free for all of our JFrog Advanced Security customers.
Wow.
So this is a feature they're just getting for free right now, because we want to support everybody that bought JFrog Advanced Security.
Yeah.
And this really completes JFrog Advanced Security is holistic. It's all the way from the shift left and all the way to deploy right, basically.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love how it really walks you through the logic.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So you were saying you could fix it in multiple places depending on your logic.
Yeah, and you get the exact evidence of where the vulnerability was introduced, where the attacker input is, and where the vulnerable function is. So you can really look at each step. You don't have to guess anything. Very excited about this.
Awesome. All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Happy to show it.